Hi everyone, welcome back to the series on ReactiveSearch. I am Lakhan Samani, a senior software engineer at appbase.io. In the next set of videos, we will be demonstrating how to use appbase.io to build a great search experience like Yelp. Now we have chosen Yelp as an example over here because it covers major use cases around search. For example, a free text search, searching based on various facets like different types of restaurants, or searching based on the location. Alright, so in this particular video, we will be covering how to create an Elasticsearch cluster using appbase.io. Appbase.io provides a very intuitive and user-friendly dashboard to create an Elasticsearch cluster, and also comes with out-of-the-box services for data management, security, analytics, and search relevancy. We have documentation for all these features. You can go over the documentation, and we also have some videos which we will be linking in the description of this particular video. Next, we'll be getting the Yelp dataset, and then we'll be importing this Yelp data into Elasticsearch cluster that we just created in step 1. Next, we'll be creating a React project to build a great user experience, which includes this free text search, one of the facets to filter the restaurants by their types, and to show a result set based on the location and their description. Alright, so let's get started. So first step is to create an Elasticsearch cluster. For that, I will go to appbase.io. I will log in into the dashboard. So appbase.io provides 7 days of trial, so you can always create an Elasticsearch cluster and experience how the services of Appbase are. So we'll deploy our Elasticsearch cluster on South Carolina. Now before that, I would also like to mention that we also have a feature where if you already have Elasticsearch cluster deployed somewhere else, for example Elastic or AWS, then also you can get access to the Appbase services by using this already have cluster option, where you can deploy appbase.io services on top of your Elasticsearch. So first of all, I will select the location for our cluster. I will give it Yelp data name, and I will use the latest version of Elasticsearch, that is 7.8, and I will create a cluster. Now provisioning a cluster and deploying appbase.io services can take up to a few minutes, so please hang tight. Alright, so as you can see, our cluster is active now, and we can go ahead and view the details of the cluster. So as you can see, our cluster is a very basic one, that is sandbox. It has 4 GB of memory and it has 30 GB of disk. Now you can also create clusters with various different memories and storage based on your requirements. So when you are moving from your development to production, you can scale your cluster as well. So I will go ahead and view the current cluster and just explain how it looks like. So you have Elasticsearch URL, then you also have appbase.io URL, which you can use alternatively to Elasticsearch URL and get access to all the services that appbase.io provides. And you can also scale the current cluster and get the usage reports as well. So in order to get access to all the appbase.io services, we need to click on Explore Cluster. Alright, so now that our cluster is created and we have seen how it looks like, let's see what are the next steps. So next step is to get a data set of Yelp. Now in order to do that, I have used this service called Kaggle. Kaggle is a subsidiary of Google, which is an online community for data scientists and machine learning practitioners. It allows user to find and publish the dataset to solve the data science challenges basically. Um, since the Yelp data is published under a learning and non-commercial license, we'll be using it for learning the reactive search in this video course. So as you can see, if you click on Yelp academic dataset for business, this is how document looks like. It has a business ID, name, address, city, state, postal code, latitude, longitude, what are the ratings, review counts, and some other attributes as well. So you can provide filters around all this and build a great search experience. So you can download it using this download button over here. I have already downloaded this data on my machine, so I won't be downloading it right now. Um, and let's see how the data looks like. So I'll go to downloads and I'll just open Yelp data. So as you can see, it has this something around 2,09,000 records, and it doesn't come in the correct JSON file format, like the array was not there. So what I have done is I just did a search of a regex search of /n and added a comma and /n so that there is a comma at end of each line, and I added the square brackets at start and at the end of this file, so it acts as a JSON array and a JSON file. Next, I have written this particular script which actually formats the data. Now, the reason why we need to format the data before importing is that the location data, that is latitude and longitude, are available as individual attribute in this document, but we need it in particular shape in order to work with Elasticsearch geotype. That is, it should be in this particular shape where it has let and lon as the attributes. So what I'm doing over here is I'm iterating over 10,000 records only, just for the demonstration purpose, and I'm converting the data in the desired format. That is, I'm converting location where we have location in this particular shape. I'm adding image just to show this image. Every object can have a different image, but again, for the demonstration purpose, I'm using a static image, and this just spreading the rest of the data as it is. So let's just go ahead and run this script. So it would just write this data into Yelp formatted data.json file. So let us go ahead and see how that looks like. Now this is a large file, so it might not be formatting correctly, but basically it's in the format that we need, so we can just quickly search for location, and as you can see, it's there in the first line itself, which has the correct shape. Awesome. So our data is formatted. Next, let's create an index in the Elasticsearch cluster and import this data. Index is nothing but a collection of uh, documents basically. A single cluster can have multiple indexes as well. So let me just name it Yelp. Now here, if you have a data and if you want to import, you can select that. I'm not doing that right now because I can also go into the different menu option and also do that. So I'll be showing that process, and I will keep rest of the settings as it is. So once our index is created, we can go to develop, and as you can see, we have all these options where we can import the data, browse the data, see the request logs, and see the search preview of how the data looks like. So as you can see, we don't have any data right now. But before importing the data, what I would like to do is I would like to add a mapping for location field. Reason I'm doing it in advance is because if I don't do that, then the importer will also consider this as a normal object, a normal JSON object, because Elasticsearch also has a type called object which can have various properties. So just to avoid that, I'm creating this particular field beforehand, and once our field is created, I'll just go ahead and import the data. Now this is an importer tool which allows you to import the data from various different sources like JSON, CSV, Elasticsearch, SQL. We also have a CLI which allows way more formats than what we have in the UI, like MongoDB as well. So we want to import from a JSON file, right? So I will select Yelp formatted data over here and just wait for the file upload to complete. And as you can see, even 10,000 records is like 8 MB of data. So yeah, it's a good amount of data for the demonstration and to see the search relevancy and other features. So I will start the import, and as you can see that the import process is queued successfully. Now it can take up to some minutes, or depending on the size of the data that you have, for the import to complete. We will just verify that from the browse data tab. So as you can see right now, it has just imported 377 records, but the process is still on, and if you refresh you might see some more data as well. So as you can see right now, 3000 records have been imported. So I will let this process to complete on its own. We don't have to worry about that. Alright, so next thing to do is to scaffold a React project. Now we will be using Code Sandbox over here, which is an online editor. So Code Sandbox is an online editor for rapid development of web apps, and it also gives us a preview link, so it's easy to play around with the preview of the actual thing that we are developing. And it also allows us to commit on GitHub. So overall, a better developer experience that we can have for this particular use case. So I'll just create a new sandbox over here. What I want is a new React project. So as you can see, a new React project has been scaffolded by Code Sandbox for us. We don't have to do much. Next, we will have to install ReactiveSearch over here. If you are not using Code Sandbox, then this is the command that you can use to install the ReactiveSearch. But on Code Sandbox, you can edit by using the UI that they provide. So I will just search for ReactiveSearch. So appbase.io/ReactiveSearch. Awesome. So ReactiveSearch is installed. Next step is to connect our ReactiveSearch with the Elasticsearch cluster that we just created. So in order to do that, we need to import reactive-base component from our ReactiveSearch library. ReactiveBase is a container component that wraps ReactiveSearch components together. It binds the backend app with the UI component, allowing UI component to relatively update every time there is a change in the data, or whenever you are searching on the data. You can read more about this component with a doc link that is provided in the presentation or in the video description. So we need to use ReactiveBase app name and the URL. Alright, so let's go ahead and import the ReactiveBase component. So ReactiveBase, I'll just print connected to Elasticsearch, As you can see, it needs an app. So our app is nothing but the name of index that we created. So Yelp, and the connection string, we can just copy it from our dashboard. I will copy appbase.io URL and just put it in the URL prop. So as you can see, we are connected to Elasticsearch. So in the next video, we will see how we can build a search experience. That is, we will include this search box and see what component we need to use from ReactiveSearch. Thank you.